We're up to Halacha Yomi, Borer, 22 on page 354. One who only intends to eat half a fruit is allowed to peel the entire fruit, since it's the normal way of eating, right? For example, clementine or orange, right? It's normal to peel the whole thing, even when you only eat half. But things that you only eat half at a time, like onion, it's normal to peel half an onion, right? So therefore, you should only peel half. Okay. In a meal, we said you're allowed to borer for during the meal, right before the meal and during the meal. But you're not allowed to do borer right before Birkat Hamazon to eat after Birkat Hamazon, because that's not part of the meal anymore. So that's not considered immediate. Okay, fine. 25. If someone separated food with the intention of leaving it for later, which is not allowed, but then he changed his mind and he ate it right away, he has still transgressed the Melacha borer, since his intention when separating was to perform a Melacha. Okay, let's say you have a pile of candy, right? They give out by a brit in the shul or whatever it is, Shabbat Hatan. They give out platters with candy. One may take a specific piece of candy from a pile of different treats in order to reward a child or calm the child down, even though the child will not eat the candy until much later, right? So the question is, how is it allowed? So number one, the Ben Ish Chai says you don't actually have to eat the item. Number two, it's not necessarily ocher from psolet, because at the end of the day, you would want all these candies, right? So you just happen to choose one because of the color, because whatever it is. But then at the end of the day, you would take any of them. They're not considered. The other ones are not really considered psolet. But the question is, even if you hold it's psolet, you have to eat it right away, seemingly. And the problem is that then you're not allowed to eat candies in shul, right? You're not allowed to eat before kiddush, and it's not right to eat candies and make noise in shul. What's definitely wrong is to hurt people with the candy. People think it's a joke. You have to try to be like IDF sniper, throw it in the guy's head and hit him in the head. It's so funny. And many times I found on the Torah, the Torah, there was candies all collected over there. Nobody took it out. But he says that to give it to the child to calm him down, you're allowed to give it to him a piece of candy from the platter. A person shouldn't go with the platter during Kriyat Torah. That's also inappropriate. 28. One who separates an item with a utensil for the purpose of separating transgresses the biblical prohibition of borer. You're not allowed to separate with a utensil. You have to separate only by hand. Let's say you separate with a tool that's not meant for separating. That's also considered a sumi darabanan, but by hand is where it's permitted. Question is forks, spoons, forks, knives, sakum. All these things are considered extension of your hand, and it's not a sur whatsoever to use a fork to separate when you want to separate the good from the bad to eat right away. What about knives? Peeling an orange with a knife. 30. It is permitted to peel an orange with a knife, even though the orange and the peel are being separated with a utensil. It's not a problem. You're allowed to even, let's say, eat a soup, and you use a spoon to take the noodles from the soup. That's also considered not separating. Many poskim say that the fork and the spoon is not an issue when you're using it just to get your hands dirty. But what if the fork and the spoon can accomplish something you wouldn't be able to accomplish with your hands by itself? So over there, they say that it is a problem. It will be considered borer. The others argue and say, no, even separating things that you couldn't do with your hands, then you should, it's permitted. Chazal Nobody writes, you should do it only immediately before eating and only separate the ochel. Okay, 31. What about using a peeler? You're allowed to use a peeler on Shabbat in order to peel vegetables or fruits. 32. You're allowed to use the rim of a pot to strain a liquid from, such as a soup, from other things in the pot that are not desired by tilting, right? Sometimes when you tilt a certain angle, only the liquid comes out and the solids stay back. It's allowed. It's considered separating by hand. Now, 33. It is common to put grains of rice in a salt shaker to prevent the buildup of moisture that could cause the salt to clump. On Shabbat, now the problem is you're using the salt shaker and there's holes that allow only the salt to come out and not the rice. So maybe that's borer using a utensil. It's okay, you can go through. Yeah, on Shabbat it's permitted to use a salt shaker even though there's grains of rice inside. They'll be held back. Since the salt shaker is not meant to be a utensil, it's meant for borer, and B, you don't have intention to separate the borer by pouring out the salt. So therefore, because of this, it's permitted to use such a thing. And sometimes in restaurants, when they serve the fish, they give you lemon, right? But the lemon has seeds. So what do? They put a setka. They put a little bit of a net on the lemon, so that way the seed doesn't fall into the fish, and that's not allowed. That's border. It's using a net to separate the seed from the lemon juice, right? No. Just those 3 words I said. That's it. Okay, fine. So now, when squeezing a lemon into food or a drink, one may not put the lemon in a cloth or use a lemon juicer to prevent the seeds from falling out, since the seeds become separated from the juice as one is squeezing it. 35. One may not separate a mixture by placing it in water, so that the lighter items will float to the top and the heavier will fall on the bottom. Number 36. One may clean a dirty plate or utensil by soaking it, even though you're separating the food from the plate. 37. Let's say washing fruits and vegetables. Is that considered border? 37. It's permitted to rinse fruits and vegetables on Shabbat under running water in order to clean them from dirt or pesticides, even though if they were so dirty that you wouldn't eat it without washing it. This only can be done immediately before eating the fruits and the vegetables. 38. One may not soak a dirty vegetable in a fruit or a bowl of water so that the dirt separates from the fruit of the vegetable. However, if the vegetable or fruit is already clean and you want to soak it in order to clean it more, right, then it's permitted. 39. It is permitted to wash a piece of fish that's too salty. 40. Cleaning utensils is permitted on Shabbat. It's not issue of borer. And 41. You're allowed to remove crumbs from one's beard. So washing for fruits and vegetables is permitted if you do it for immediate use.